following is a presentation of HBO Sports.
Hi, I'm Max Kellerman, and thanks for being with us for this classic look back at the 2006 matchup between Bernard Hopkins and Antonio Tarver. Hopkins, who had set a middleweight record of 20 consecutive title defenses, was coming off back-to-back decision losses to Jermaine Taylor and would be moving up 2 weight divisions to light heavyweight to challenge 175-pound kingpin Antonio Tarver, a fight which Hopkins claimed at the time would be the final bout of his Hall of Fame career. While Hopkins was putting on weight in preparation for the fight, Tarver, who sat atop the division by virtue of 2 wins over the great Roy Jones, was desperately trying to shed the 40-plus pounds he'd put on to play the fictional heavyweight champion Mason the Line Dixon in Rocky Balboa. When they entered the ring, Tarver was a solid favorite based on his youth and size. But when the bell rang, it quickly became apparent that Hopkins had other ideas. Here's how Jim Lampley, Larry Merchant, and Emmanuel Stewart called the action at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City.
Tail of the tape for Antonio Tarver and Bernard Hopkins. You see the 4-year age advantage for Tarver. They are both, by boxing standards, antiquities. Tarver is a tall light heavyweight at 6'2". Hopkins was an extraordinarily tall middleweight at 6'1". There's a 2.5-inch arm length advantage for Tarver, measured from the armpit to the end of the fist. That could be significant in the fight. He has the better, more frequently used jab anyway. They both weighed in yesterday looking 174, and incidentally, wait till you see Hopkins' new light heavyweight body. It is spectacular. Built with the help of Mackie Shilstone, who of course is legendary in the sport for what he did in the past with Michael Spinks and with Roy Jones when they went up to heavyweight. Tonight, unofficially, Tarver weighs 187. Surprisingly, at least to these eyes, Hopkins rehydrated overnight up to 182. Remember, Bernard has fought quite frequently at 161, 164. Tonight, 182 pounds. Let's look at the rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Antonio Tarver Bernard Hopkins fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. The referee or the doctor can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round.
On the surface, certainly it appears, seldom will you see 2 sleeker, better conditioned light heavyweights as they get into the ring with each other. Yeah. My first big question, will Hopkins risk enough to give himself the chance to win the fight?
Right away, Hopkins is showing what he said was going to be to try to make Tarver fight a small man's fight by making him move all the time, jump on him, rough him up.
And right away, Antonio Tarver begins to throw his jab much more frequently than Hopkins, which is something we expected.
When Tarver came out, to me, it started to set the tempo right away. He started to move Bernard back with a half-hesitant type, pawing and parrying type jab. And that's what he said he wants to do, is to get Bernard to move him back, and he's doing that.
And there's Tarver's big left hand over the top, and there's Hopkins' counter right hand. So they've shown you their best punches already. For Tarver, the big weapon is that left hand right there. And for Hopkins, the straight right hand counter in return.
Bernard looks very strong at this weight, and I've always felt, even when he was fighting at 160, he always looked very drawn to me when we would meet him and have weigh-in meetings with him. And I think this is more of a proper weight for him anyway.
His trainer, Nassim Richardson, whispered to me in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, if Bernard hadn't been running like a fanatic all these years, he might have been a light heavyweight some time ago.
I think it's only not normal for him to be this weight, so that's why I don't see much of a big disadvantage at fight 174 or 75 for him.
Well, as we mentioned, the Mackie Shilstone sculpted body looks terrific. Body shot by Hopkins. Tarver still looking to jab and set up a left hand. Wants to make a statement here in the first round, and perhaps might be thinking in the back of his mind about his bet that he'll knock out Hopkins within the first 5 rounds and collect an extra $250,000.
I think what's in his mind, Jim, is that he has to go after the naturally smaller man who has never faced anyone as big and strong as he is.
When they face each other from this range, It looks as though Tarver's height differential is bigger than 1 inch, but Hopkins was the one who popped in the short right hand.
Yeah, how Tarver fights big, but Bernard is bending down a lot, which makes it look like he's much smaller. Because Bernard likes to throw a punch at you and then run in with his head at the same time anyway, so he's always bent his head down when he punches. Tarver's body position is very good. Even though he hasn't did anything, he's in great position, maintaining good balance to fire his left hand.
Bernard ducking under Tarver's attempt to throw the left. They grapple at close range. There's a lot of grappling in some Hopkins fights, and this first round has had 3 or 4 grappling sessions already. War of nerves.
Keep the heat on it. He's gonna go for the home run with the right hand. Okay? Every time he throws the right hand, he's going for the home run with it. He's gonna try left hook down here. That's what we gotta do. Look at me, baby. Keep the jab going. Stop worrying about the head with the left hand. Start shooting the left hand to his chest and to his body.
React to everything. Let's keep him responding. Let's keep him moving. Excellent. What'd you see, John?
Bro, nice one. This boy has no legs. He has no legs. He's pressing him inside.
We are strong. We are strong. Our feints will get us there. Our jab is still working.
You way down, just wipe
Make
out the
our
corner. So
investment. Make our investment.
keep my eye on him.
Right there, baby.
Be smart.
Where you see Bernard banging him to the hip on the opposite side where the referee can't see, and then a little uppercut. As I said, he knows all of the tricks of the game.
He's brilliant at holding you with one arm on the side away from the referee and popping little body shots in. He's not too bad at getting your head under his arm and managing to hit you a few times before you get broken.
Right.
CompuBox numbers in one, Tarver only 3 out of 28 and Hopkins only 6 out of 27 as they were feeling each other out. More grappling, more holding on one side and hitting on the other. Tarver seems unruffled by this so far.
No, he seems to be keeping his composure. He seems to be just pawing with his jab, landing up, trying to shoot that straight left hand of his.
You heard Buddy McGirt tell Tarver he's going to go for the home run every time with the right hand.
My break.
Tarver's home run punch is, of course, his big left hand over the top, although he hurt Roy Jones with a right hook in the 11th round of their third fight. Looping left hook by Hopkins there. Tarver taking his time and still searching for opportunities. There's a hard left hand by Tarver as Hopkins walked in.
That's the punch that he's been trying to set him up for all night long. And he's going to continue. He's very focused on this one particular punch that he's trying to land. And that's the short left hand.
By Hopkins.
But everything that Hopkins is doing, he's having to lunge and run to do it. In the meantime,
one punch.
Antonio just pawing and pawing.
Throwing one punch at a time.
Right hand by Hopkins again. Another right hand by Hopkins. That one landed and bothered Tarver. And a third right hand lands for Hopkins.
There's a flurry.
And suddenly Bernard is taking over this round with a series of clean right hands. Southpaw against a right-hand fighter. Yeah. Hopkins should be able to land his straight right hand down the pipe from time to time, just as Tarver should be able to land his straight left.
But you know, Bernard is actually throwing a straight right, and sometimes he throws it in like a right hook. He's mixing it up, which is very smart. That way, Antonio can anticipate what position to hold his left hand in to block.
Tarver almost got a chance at a left cross, and Hopkins ducked away. Hopkins partially ducks that left hand. Tarver got in a scraping blow. 2 body shots by Antonio. Bernard moves back away. Body shot by Hopkins.
Bernard better be careful running in. Don't get caught with that right hook of Tarver, too. The same thing that Roy Jones got caught with.
5 seconds.
Tarver hasn't really thrown the right hook yet.
5.
It's been mostly jab left cross for Tarver, and Hopkins straight right hand.
Smart, just like that, baby.
Everybody else might be surprised. Everybody else might be shocked. But it's real simple, baby. That feint is just like a punch. He can't keep working. He can't maintain your momentum. He can't keep this pace. So he's gonna wait, try to land a big shot. He's gonna showboat. Don't feed in, X. Fire down the pipe, make investments. You stay under here, even when you're inside and you're wrestling, you drop, step around him, drive up. Drop, step around him, drive back up, right into the core.
Keep putting that pressure on him. Don't let him get brave.
Okay.
All right, come on, baby.
How we looking?
All right, we're looking good, but you let him get away with too much stuff.
Okay.
You got to keep that heat on him.
Okay.
All right, be smart. Make him miss, make him pay to the body.
Okay.
Don't worry about that hit yet. All right, let's start putting some on those jabs now.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
You saw the power punch numbers from CompuBox. Hopkins with a pretty good round, landing 9 of 27, mostly working that straight right hand, and occasionally, as Emmanuel Stewart points out, sweeping it, bringing it in a broad circle, a slightly different angle from the way he normally throws the punch. There's a left hook up top by Bernard Hopkins, catches Tarver on the cheek.
And when they get closer in those changes, you notice Bernard always has his feet in better position, and Tarver's legs, even though he's the conventional southpaw, seems to be all crossed up.
How would you describe Hopkins' style, Emmanuel?
I think right now he's fighting this typical type of cautious type, picking his punches, not wasting anything. He's trying to pick, duck, stay out of the way, and land just 1 or 2 clean punches, enough to win the fight without taking too much of a risk. He's fighting very safe still.
There you are. I think the style is low risk. Body shot by Hopkins. He has definitely started faster here than was the case in the 2 Taylor fights, or so it seems. In the first Taylor fight, Hopkins, by CompuBox count, averaged only 19 punches thrown per round for the first 8 rounds. Now Tarver stops him in his tracks with a left hand and hits him with another one. Good right hand by Hopkins. He's so quick with that punch.
Hopkins has always been here, back, and he throws his punches and lunges at you at the same time and dips his head down, and he'll catch you because he'll be in the motion of back, and you don't expect him to come forward.
Moves back, lurches forward, body and hand at the same time. The right hand extends out and catches you.
Yeah, he doesn't jab.
Then he grabs you.
Yep.
This is something that we expected would happen from time to time during the fight, as the 2 counter punchers wait for the other man to set up an opportunity. And Hopkins gets off first.
Even though he doesn't land the punch, he seemingly have gotten, Tarver seems to be a little bit worried and a little bit concerned right now. It's interesting. This is 2 consecutive fights where he's fighting with hostile crowds. He was fighting Roy down in Florida, even though they both were from Florida, but the crowd was a pro-Roy crowd. And this crowd right now is a pro-Bernard Hopkins crowd.
Which will probably prompt Antonio to say that he's not getting enough respect. And there's another straight right hand that lands for Bernard Hopkins.
See there, the legs, once they get inside, it's amazing that Hopkins does not have his, Bernard has his legs in better position than Tarver.
You're not doing a whole lot to keep us awake here.
Nope.
One thing you might note about Bernard Hopkins, incidentally, much attention is paid all the time to Tarver's advantages as a big, light heavyweight southpaw, but Hopkins 9-0 in his career against southpaws, and that straight right hand has something to do with it.
Fighting a very smart fight right now.
Come on, you got to work. You dancing to his beat, you okay? Talk to me. All right, come on. You dancing to his beat. You got to keep that pressure on him. Don't let him get no momentum coming forward. And go to the body, baby.
Okay.
You're aiming for the head too much. You're looking for the 1 punch.
Okay.
Come on, baby. We got to stop fighting this joker now. Okay?
Okay.
You letting him still.
Turn to your left. Drive it back up in the center. That's because all he wants to do is hold you. You understand me? We can't relax, all right? You said it. When I get control, we can't make it easy. You know what I mean? We can't just say it's that easy and go.
Keep doing what you're doing. Beautiful boxing, baby. Smart.
Stay intellectual. You're above this. You're above this level, man. This guy's bullshit at the public.
He's done.
He didn't bullshit us.
He's done.
All right?
Combi box numbers on power punches through 3. Tarver only 7 out of 42. Hopkins getting credit for 23 out of 72. Tarver hasn't landed his jab much either. Buddy McGirt clearly did not like what happens in rounds 2 and 3. An interesting question becomes, how was the phony war scored in round 1? Is Hopkins actually up 3 rounds to love? Let's take a look at Harold Letterman's card and see.
No doubt about it, Jim. 30-27, 3 rounds to nothing. Bernard Hopkins. Jim, I gotta tell you something. There ain't no Willie Peps in that ring tonight. This is no boxing match. These guys are out there slugging, throwing power punches. What I can't understand is why Antonio Tarver has no snap to the jab. He's just sticking it out, doing no damage with that right jab whatsoever. 3-0 Hopkins.
Hopkins is very good at neutralizing a jab. And of course, with a southpaw facing a conventional fighter, they can neutralize each other's left hands.
Now you see it. Tarver's fighting with a lot more intensity now. He's coming on a little bit more, I think, based on the good speech that he got. And his left hand is becoming more of a factor now.
Well, Tarver better get going because his left eye is beginning to show some swelling and perhaps narrowing down a little bit. And Hopkins is very happy with what he's been able to achieve with his straight right hand-based attack so far. Big left hand from Tarver. He's got to let it go more often.
Bernard is very satisfied because Bernard throws his 1 or 2 big shots and then he just smothers you after that. He doesn't try to sustain a flow of combinations.
One body shot by Hopkins. Tarver looking and looking again.
Bernard has what I would call a 3 yards in a cloud of dust or half-court offense.
That's Tarver's home run punch for this fight. He's not trying to variety of punches, which he should. He's mainly shooting his straight left. But also, if he would shoot his right hook when he pulls back, he would be effective, but he's not doing that.
Tarver looks very tentative and somewhat confused by what Hopkins has been doing. And if Antonio dispenses with the jab and tries to throw power punches exclusively without setting them up, Bernard might be very happy to see that.
Tarver is a 3-1 favorite in this fight and not looking it.
No, and he doesn't look that strong either to me physically.
Nor is he taking the kinds of risks that will give him a chance to really open up against Bernard Hopkins. The question in my mind coming in was, would Hopkins take enough risks to give himself a chance to win the fight? Now the question is, will Tarver do that?
Yeah, well, Hopkins can make anybody look bad with his style. He's a very difficult guy to fight conventionally, and Tarver is a conventional, if very good fighter.
That big left hand at the end of the round could conceivably influence judges. Antonio Tarver's looking to win a round to try to get himself started in the fight.
Okay, yeah, but listen to me. I need you to give me hard jabs now. Okay, don't load up on the snap him. You're pulling with it. And what he's doing is he's walking into the right hand. He's timing the paw and jab. Don't paw with the jab, okay? You got to snap the jab hard. Okay. Now he's giving you this. Start jabbing his shoulder. Okay. Okay, and shooting the left.
He has to be coming victorious. All right. Stay real relaxed. Stay real relaxed. I need you to keep feint. I need that feint. And use your jab.
Right here, you see them getting in a clinch, and you see once again Bernard with his head down, more effective and better coordinated inside than Antonio.
Combi box numbers in 4. Tarver finally cut loose with 44 punches, his high output of the fight. It's not exactly a barn burner. 12 out of 44. Hopkins 11 out of 32 in that round by CompuBox count. Harold Letterman still has scored every round for Bernard Hopkins.
I scored the last one for Tarver.
Hopkins continues to come forward from time to time and be the aggressor in the fight. He's willing to do it because he's been effective with the right hand. Look at the size of Bernard's biceps. He's huge for a guy who was a middleweight just a few months ago.
Yeah, I thought he was always a light heavy. He's walked around as a middleweight by being a vegetarian and all of those type things, but never
running more than other fighters.
Running more.
Very proud of his 27-inch waist. He's an extremely vain man, as is Tarver, incidentally. They both love the way they look. Not unusual in fighters.
Stop. Clean break, clean break,
They
clean
may
break.
love the way they look. I don't like the way they look together.
Meaning it's an edgy fight.
Meaning wake me up when something happens.
What about Antonio's left eye, Manuel?
But I think his left eye is the same thing is happening continually. Those right hands, those clubbing right hands is coming around the gloves and hitting him on a continuous basis. And Antonio is just fighting a one-dimensional fight. To just trying to land one good punch with a straight left.
His glove touched the canvas.
No.
It is a knockdown. Antonio Tarver was knocked down by Bernard Hopkins. He had to put a glove on the canvas to hold himself up. That's a huge moment for Hopkins.
It's also the 5th round by which time Tarver was supposed to score the knockout.
Tarver looks very weak and listless at this and not able to focus, but even physically he looks very weak.
Antonio Tarver says he's never been knocked down in his professional fight career. If that's the case, that was the first one right there.
It was not a big, convincing knockdown. It was a technical knockdown because his gloves grazed the canvas.
You're absolutely right, Larry. But it's the way he's reacting after that is what's the concern right now. It looks like he's weak and as if it was a serious knockdown. And this is what...
Crowd goes wild as Hopkins presses his advantage and tries to knock Tarver out in the 5th round.
Tarver looks physically very weak.
Big right hand by Hopkins to the chest of Tarver. Now Tarver gets 2 left hands in and momentarily stops the rally. A fight is breaking out in the 5th round, Larry.
Yeah, they woke me up.
5 seconds.
Maybe they heard you. Hopkins wanted to let one more right hand go, but the crowd adores him for the knockdown he scored in the 5th.
Walking into that right hand, baby. Okay, you following him around. He's timing that jab, Antonio. You waiting too long, baby. What's the matter? Talk to me, champ. You waiting too long. Come on, stop worrying about the knockout. Okay? Let your hands go. Okay, you sitting there and you're dancing to his beat. You can't do that. Okay? And he's timing you. I told you, don't follow him because he's going to walk into that right hand. You got to walk over and cut him off. Okay? Let's get back to the double jab. Let's get right back to it. But I told you, they got to be fast.
But you're smart. You can't expose yourself because this guy fights such like a bitch. He'll fight to survive. He'll fight to survive. And it'll be hard to break the shell. So stay smart. Okay? We gonna hurt him until we break him down. Stay smart. It ain't gonna be one. You understand me? Stay smart. You know how that started?
Right here, you see Tarver coming in, but it seems like everything he's doing is so uncoordinated and weak tonight. And the energy level and the strength seems to be coming from Bernard. And as you see, Bernard fights with his head down, as I told you all the time, which gives you very little target to punch at.
Power shots in 5. Tarver 3 out of 17. Hopkins 12 out of 29. Antonio only threw 29 punches in the round. After 5 rounds on Harold Letterman's card, Antonio Tarver is 6 points down, meaning he's rapidly sliding out of position to have any chance to win a decision. Antonio Tarver swore that he wasn't up near 220 pounds on the set of Rocky Balboa, and that coming down from that weight wasn't going to compromise him in the fight. But Emmanuel Stewart, he does not look strong.
He does not look strong, and the expression in his face between the rounds, I did not like. If I had to be working with him, it looked like he's resigned to the fact that he's going to have a rough night or maybe lose. I didn't see that anxiety where he beat his gloves together and said, yeah, I'm going to pick it up. It just seemed like, hey, I can't really deal with this situation too much.
And I totally agree, and there's a thudding right hand from Hopkins that hurt Tarver again.
Bernard is
Buddy McGirt knew it. He wasn't getting the response he wanted from Tarver when he said, what's wrong?
Bernard is barreling into him with punches and shoulders all at the same time.
And now Bernard pins Tarver against the ropes with his shoulder and just holds him there. Tarver still pawing with his jab, doing exactly what Buddy McGirt told him not to do. McGirt has told him several times, don't paw with your jab. Bernard is timing that. Tarver can't stop himself from doing it.
he's depending on that one left hand. Maybe the great knockout he had over Roy Jones, which was a kind of weird punch anyway, but he's depending on that again, and I don't think it's going to happen tonight.
Well, I just think that Hopkins has virtually neutralized completely the right hand of Tarver. We don't see any hooks. We don't see any really effective jabs, and that has discombobulated Tarver.
Absolutely right. Tarver spent his whole career fighting right-hand fighters, so it certainly isn't the first time he's been in the position of looking at a guy's left shoulder right in front of him.
He was so weak and tentative. He's flinching at punches that he thinks is going to come. Mentally, this man is not strong enough to hold up in this fight, I don't think.
And he must be shocked at the strength of Bernard Hopkins, who was expected to be the smaller man in the fight and looks like the bigger man.
And most people that asked me about the fight, I told them I'd pick Bernard, you know, and I said, well, it's because I just, in the last half of the 11th round with Roy, even though he had knocked him down, in the 12th, I saw a mental weakness in Antonio that I know that he could not be that way with a guy like Bernard, because Bernard's mentally a very tough man. But I'm surprised physically that Bernard, supposedly the smaller guy, is physically manhandling Antonio Tarver.
This is not unlike the tattooing that Bernard Hopkins put on Felix Tito Trinidad in Madison Square Garden, when he reduced Trinidad to simply walking around bewildered, taking shots.
Come on, you got to talk to me. You're not letting your hands go. You're not doing anything.
We're standing outside.
Okay, you're walking into the right hand. You're not jabbing his arm. You're not throwing no body shots. You're looking for the one punch.
Okay.
Okay? Let's go. Jab his arm.
All right.
Stop walking into the right hand.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? You're walking right into it. Okay? You're making it too easy for him.
He's waiting on you to see what you're going to do.
That's all. He's not fighting.
You understand? He's not fighting no more.
He's dangerous because he's always dangerous with the left hand. If we walk into the left, we have neutralized the left hand. He can't throw it when you walk to your left. From there, drop your feints, and we go to work.
Yes, sir.
Walk to your left. His left hand is neutralized.
That's right.
Man, you got to stay focused on the task here. Let's go. Let's wake up. Let's go, man. Stay focused on the task here, baby. Okay? Okay, let's cut him off. Stop walking. You walk around into the right hand. Get the head moving. Jab his arm. Right here. Don't worry about the head. Okay? Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Antonio Tarver is squinting, blinking, trying to get his left eye to feel better. It's bothering him. Hopkins outlanded Tarver 25-11 in total punches in the last couple of rounds, 21-5 in power shots. I think I know what we're going to see as we go to Harold Letterman. How do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim. 60-53, 6 rounds to nothing. Bernard Hopkins. Jim, I gotta tell you something. Number one, Benji Esteves, I think, may have given Bernard a bit of a break. I don't think Antonio Tarver's glove touched, but be as it may, Bernard getting off first with that right hand, doing a beautiful job. Tarver still not snapping a right jab. 6-0, Hopkins.
I have it 5 rounds to 1.
And I got to be totally honest, I did not yet see a camera shot which establishes definitively whether Tarver's glove touched the canvas on the knockdown, but he did not protest.
He didn't protest, but I didn't see it. I didn't see him touch it forward.
And I'm told that it's all out of frame. We don't have it on a camera shot. Not even the overhead shot will show us for sure whether the glove touched the canvas. But referee Benji Esteves ruled immediately, and Tarver didn't complain.
The way the fight is going, it's all academic.
It doesn't matter. It's been a wipeout.
Antonio looks so vulnerable to be hit with any power punch. And Bernard is very cagey. He's going to take his time and try to catch him with a clean shot right on the chin.
Right hand to the body by Hopkins. Choosing selectively, but choosing well.
Tarver calls himself the magic man, but it's Hopkins that's making him disappear right here.
Yeah, Antonio's going to need something very magical to turn this around. Maybe a left hand would do it. Maybe Hopkins' left hand is just as good. The confidence of Bernard Hopkins stepping into supposedly unknown territory at light heavyweight is magnificent to behold.
Yeah, because, you know, Tarver is not what we call a big, physical light heavyweight, as some light heavyweights have been in the past. The Victor Galindez and those type guys. He's just a tall light heavyweight. And it's mainly punching power. Claim of fame is off for the Roy Jones punch.
but it was an electric shot that knocked Jones out.
Great punch.
Of course, Roy was coming forward into the punch, too.
Yeah.
Good, solid right-hand lead by Hopkins.
Step.
Bernard doesn't bother with a jab in this instance.
Nope.
He's just setting up his right hand over and over and over, occasionally a left hook.
That brief cheer was B-Hop for Bernard Hopkins.
Clean. Step.
Hopkins misses and gets close. He pins Antonio on a bear hug, or he works him over on one side, away from referee Benji Esteves.
But as soon as Bernard finishes the punch, he's all pushing you, so you actually, Tarver never retaliates at all.
You're not doing nothing, baby. What's the matter? Come on, you're not doing nothing. You're not countering. Look at me. You're not countering. You're just walking. You're daydreaming, baby. Come on. You're a much better fighter than this, man. Okay? You're not jabbing his arm. You're not doing nothing I'm telling you to do. You're waiting for the one shot. Give me.
Let's not lose focus. You went for some big shots there. We don't need them. Walk to your left. Keep giving me that right hand. Walk to your left. Give me that double right hand. All right? And invest to the body X. When you go down there, I want you to go down there for keeps. You understand me?
Right.
Walk to your left for me, all right? He's got life. Then we go the other way, he's got Hail Mary. One punch wonder. Okay? He'll close his eyes and launch if we go the other way.
Average power punches per round, Tarver only 3 out of 15. Hopkins 9 out of 25. You saw the discouraged look on Antonio Tarver's face in the corner. Is he done, Emmanuel?
Yeah, for the most part, I would say just about. You know, he's coming back this round with a little bit more grace. But overall, I would say no. I didn't see the kind of the determination that I wanted to see.
Well, whatever determination he might have mustered could have been blunted by that right hand that Hopkins just hit him with.
Yeah, well, he's coming on right now. I think he's making his final big effort right now. He's fighting a very determined fight. But to be honest with you, even physically, he just doesn't look that strong. You know.
And when he lands a couple left hands, Hopkins is easily able to back him off with equally solid rights.
Good right hand lead, right inside. Bernard is just barreling his way in and bullying him around.
Hopkins isn't a particularly hard puncher, but he's a stern puncher.
At this stage, he doesn't put combinations together. He doesn't flow. He just throws one punch at a time for the most part. And then he pushes you and butts you with his head either way. But he very seldom puts a lot of punches together. See there? Perfect example.
Tarver got in one left hand over the top. Hopkins coming back.
He's walking through him now.
Haven't seen this much go forward in Bernard Hopkins in a long, long time. And you said it before the fight. He had to go back to being the Bernard Hopkins who fought Antoine Eccles in rough, aggressive performances.
Well, we've seen him do it, Jim, I think, but late in fights.
Late in the fights, the last
and now he feels that Tarver is weakening, and so he's a little bit less inclined to be defensive.
And I think in the fight with Jermaine Taylor, I think he felt Jermaine Taylor's strength in the first round. He's a young, strong, hard-punching kid, and he was a little cautious that he wouldn't fight until the end of the fight.
Wonder if in this coming week, Jermaine Taylor might be getting a little bit more credit for what he accomplished against Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins looking this good tonight against Tarver. Tarver gets in one left hand. Hopkins missed with the right hand in return. That was one of the better moments of the whole fight for Antonio. It's probably been his second best or best round in the fight, and he may not be in position to win it anyway.
He came out very determined this round. This was a round that he was going to make a change. It would be this round. And he's not been effective to mount any clean, effective punches for the most part still. He's fought with more aggression, and that's about it, but he hasn't landed many clean punches.
He's fighting Bernard Hopkins' fight. One punch at a time, rough, piecemeal.
Bernard makes every opponent fight his fight because it's such an unusual, awkward, but effective style in the way he uses it.
Hopkins raises his gloves to the audience, and they respond with approval.
You're giving too much ground, Antonio. You got to stand your ground. When you get done punching, he's coming back with punches, okay? And you retreating, all right? Let's go, baby. Now listen, let's go back, Antonio. Everything you're throwing is to the head. Go to his body, man. You got to stop putting combinations together. You're getting him on the ropes and you're swinging for the head, okay? Start downstairs, then work your way up.
Start pushing him back now, X. We're going to start pushing him back.
Get into that yard.
Let's not fall asleep. Let's not get away from the game. Okay, baby? Let's not get away. We're looking for the right hand. We step into our left. This cliche southpaw stuff, baby. There's nothing fancy about this guy. You understand me? There's nothing fancy about this guy. Feint.
CompuBox numbers in the 8th round. Tarver 10 out of 46. That's his high punch output for the fight. Hopkins 9 out of 29. Not an easy round to score. Maybe Antonio gave himself a chance to win it simply by throwing more and looking as though he was more determined than in previous rounds. Most authoritative punch there, the right hand by Hopkins. Again, the most effective punch in the exchange was the right hand by Hopkins.
Well, Hopkins is pinpointing and very accurate with his punches. His real short right hand lead through the center is very effective because of the way that Tarver keeps his left glove over to his side. So Bernard is pushing this shot right in between. He tried it again.
Break, clean break, step out.
Antonio Tarver's jab is getting him nothing. He's not landing it. He's not in any way bothering Hopkins with it. He's not setting up anything with it. Tarver's jab won't help him unless he throws it out there hard, over and over.
You know, the one thing that I was impressed with Bernard, even in the loss to Jermaine Taylor, I talked to him after, I said, it's amazing you still have your coordination. You know, you just had a particular fighter that was very difficult, but your coordination is still very good. And right here, he's actually better coordinated than Tarver, who's a younger fighter.
Step.
Gifted athlete, Bernard Hopkins. And a fighter who has done very little to despoil his gifts. No bad habits. Gym rat of the highest order. He has lived a monastic fighter's existence ever since coming out of prison at age 22. 4.5 years in prison for Bernard Hopkins before his professional boxing career began. He says that's where he learned the lessons that ultimately allowed him to become a very disciplined man.
My break.
I thought I saw Tarver land a short right hook in that occasion.
That would be an event. Meanwhile, the crowd is up and watching fist fights that are taking place elsewhere in the arena.
My break. Nice and clean. Step.
Big left hook by Hopkins. Tarver in trouble again as the round comes to a close.
You gotta stop retreating.
9 rounds in the books.
You gotta stop going back. You're going back too much. Come on, baby. You gotta stand your ground. Everything you're throwing, you got knockout written on it. Keep it sharp. Come on, Antonio. Let's go. You gotta bite down now. You got 3 more rounds, baby. You gotta bite down.
This is your legacy, all right, baby. And we ain't letting nothing happen like happened before. Right. This is your legacy.
That's right. Don't give it away.
We're gonna finish this heavy. Push him back. We're gonna Trinidad this, baby.
Beautiful. Keep taking this good.
X factor, same thing. Walking to my left. Feint. Push him back.
Here you see Bernard shooting a straight right hand, taking advantage of the bad hand position of Tarver, which way he keeps his left hand too far to the side, and Bernard has found a little gap, and he's steadily going through that gap with those right hand leads.
Average power punches per round. Tarver 4 out of 18. Hopkins 9 out of 25. It's been Bernard's fight all the way, start to finish. Harold Edelman, how do you have it through 9?
89, 81, 8 rounds to 1. Bernard Hopkins. Jim, I'd say something. He's winning this fight easy as pie. There's no doubt about it. I don't know what's the matter with Antonio Tarver. The guy doesn't get off. He doesn't snap that right hand. Bernard moves in, gets off the first punch, nails him with solid right hands. 8-1, Hopkins.
I think it's a little bit closer than that, but plainly Hopkins is in command.
This is the 10th round of a scheduled 12. Antonio Tarver has not yet been able to produce the urgency, the intensity, or anything of technical competence necessary to turn things around.
I give credit to Hopkins for not letting him do it.
And if Antonio Tarver needs a knockout against Bernard Hopkins in the last 3 rounds, what an imposing task that is.
Good luck.
Yeah, Tarver's never had a knockout past the 10th.
And Hopkins has never been knocked out. He's only been down in 1 fight in his career.
Segundo Mercado knocked him down twice.
Yeah, the right hand leads. Seems like Bernard right now is not going for the knockout himself. He seems to be very content to ride through the fight just the way it's going, feeling he's going to win a decision. If the knockout comes, fine, but I'm not going to try to make it happen anymore and take a risk.
Well, that's great strategy. That's the way for him to win the fight. That's just all-out smart fighting.
Especially at 41.
100%. Guy who hasn't made too many mental errors in his career. Maybe he started too slowly against Jermaine Taylor twice, though. If so, he's making up for it tonight. And he got a fast start in this fight.
Very good start.
Well, and the important thing is he's been able to sustain it.
Punishment. Hopkins just wearing Tarver down through the course of the fight. Sugar Ray Robinson led Joey Maxim through 13 rounds at Yankee Stadium in 1952 and then collapsed from heat exhaustion.
At this stage here, Bernard really would sit down and go all out. I believe he could stop Tarver, but I don't think he's going to do it.
I think Tarver is so discouraged at this point.
Too.
That makes him vulnerable.
He's very, very weak. His punches and his misses. He doesn't look strong mentally or physically.
And he took 2 big shots at a knockout, and Bernard grinned to entertain the crowd.
Bernard is winning the decision.
We're not going to bullshit with him. We're not going to get cute. We're going to whoop his ass and retire. That's right. Like no other man. That's right. Like no other man. Close the show. Close the show.
Jab going. No matter what, keep the jab going. Don't retreat. Just keep pulling and throw feint. Okay? Keep pulling and throw feint. Okay, babe? Look at me. All right, you got to think of it. Look at me. Think about that now, okay? Just keep throw the jab and stay. Keep the feints going with the jab. Hard jab. Okay? Don't go for no home runs. Okay? All right, don't stand there and take a whole lot of shots. All right?
I don't understand those instructions.
I don't either.
I mean, he's behind on points. Every punch that he throws, he should have knockout hoping to connect with something. Every punch should have knockout written on it.
Antonio Tarver has landed in single digits by CompuBox count in 8 of the 10 rounds. It's no way to win a fight.
Well, that's why Hopkins lost to Taylor in their first fight.
Now both of Tarver's eyes are swelling. Excuse me, Larry.
He landed an average of 5 punches a round for the first 8 rounds of the first fight with Taylor.
Hopkins so much quicker on the trigger than Tarver throughout the fight.
He would sit down and really drive the punch straight through. He would really hurt him, too.
I think he's going to knock him out. Just like he knocked out Trinidad in Madison Square Garden. I think he will finish him.
He's there to be knocked out if he wants to step it up.
I think he's going to finish him. What a performance by Hopkins. And a knockout would be a fabulous signature for his career.
Yes, it would be.
Tarver is not as spent as Trinidad was that night.
He might be just as discouraged, though.
Well, he should be.
Emmanuel, how can you retire off a performance like this?
That's a great performance. Great performance. I don't know. It's going to be a big test. Big decision.
Well, he says he's already made it, and he seems sincere. But of course, fighters have retired with great sincerity in the past, and then unretired with just as much sincerity.
Indeed.
But it wouldn't surprise me to see Bernard do it, because he doesn't have that excessive ego, and he seemingly have handled his money always very well. So I think those two things, I think, as far as the limelight and needing money, I think they won't be factors with him, and he may retire and stay retired.
We got another option for you. Benji Esteves may have to stop the fight because of the swelling in Tarver's eyes. I'm not sure he's going to be able to see in the 12th out of the right eye.
Hands are free, working it.
Antonio Tarver, to paraphrase Duke Ellington, he's got it bad.
And that ain't good. All right, we showed our age on that one. Collectively.
Are we any older than these guys? 78 is old in dog years.
I got you.
We're older than Hopkins. Footwork, the combination bunching. Bernard's getting better from round to round. Now he switches southpaw. He's just toying with this.
Yeah, he's just having
a good time.
Humiliating in really what he's doing at this stage. And Tarver can't do anything about it.
How big a favorite did you say Tarver was, Larry?
3-1. And this fight has been one long celebration for Bernard Hopkins.
Be smart, man. We'll get you. Keep taking this boy to school. We're gonna stay focused. You understand me? We're gonna stay focused.
Okay, so let's keep the jab going. He's going to try to finish strong.
Am I looking bad?
Yes.
I mean,
You're taking too many shots, Antonio. Okay? Keep the jab going. Now you got to bluff your way through this round. You understand me? All right, the referee's going to keep an eye on you. So you can't be laying on the rope. You understand me? All right, you got to keep the jab. Feint your way. Get close, you grab him, walk him around. Okay? Every time he gets close, grab him and walk around. Don't take a whole lot of shots. Okay, when you fight. No, you're not cut. Don't worry about your eye. Listen to me. All right? You got to keep the jab going.
Irony of ironies. In the third fight between Roy Jones and Antonio Tarver, we watched Jones fight just to finish the 12 rounds. The instructions that Buddy McGirt just gave to Antonio Tarver were not about trying to win even a round. They were trying to finish the fight, just the way Jones did against them.
Well, but I can't say that he came into the fight with that mindset.
Correct.
I think that Buddy McGirt is just being a realist and seeing what's happening in this fight and knowing that Tarver really doesn't have it in him to hurt Bernard with one punch at this point, if he ever did.
Hands are free, working it.
Historians will size up the mark Bernard Hopkins leaves on boxing if, in fact, this is his last tour of duty in the ring. Our cameras show you the marks he has left on Antonio Tarver.
It's not only it's beating him like it, it's humiliating him. Not to the degree that Jeff Lacey was by Calzaghe, but it's one of those type fights that you just would be almost labeled by the rest of your life. But, you know, all his accomplishments are going to be somewhat tainted by this performance, aside from the one-punch knockout of Roy.
Well, for a man 41 years old, it is a remarkable performance. However ugly he sometimes looks in the ring, the result will look beautiful to him.
Oh, I was speaking of Tarver, but I should have cleared what I was saying. The Tarver's going to be remembered by this so much.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. No, we got it, Emmanuel. No, we know exactly what you're saying. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, Tarver was looking at a potential Hall of Fame bid off of his wins over Jones and Johnson if he could beat Hopkins tonight. Now I think he's back to square one.
Maybe worse than that now, because the guys who fight him, they're going to attack him a lot more. And I don't think he can hold up with a good, strong light heavyweight anymore. I think he just physically outgrown it at this stage. But Bernard is actually fighting at the weight where he should have been fighting at probably for the last 2 years.
Unless Tarver fights again before December, and after this beating, that's questionable. You'll next see him playing Mason the Lion Dixon in Rocky Balboa, playing the heavyweight champion of the world. Tonight's result, not particularly good news for the promotion of the movie. Bernard's just going to dance his way to the finish. Antonio Tarver came into the ring tonight with the chosen identity, Legend Killer. The headline for this fight should be Legend Kills. Hopkins comes to the media side of the ring and stares, as if to say, there's my
Good
statement.
fight.
Hopkins is leaning over to talk to Emmanuel.
Thank you.
What did he say, Emmanuel?
Okay, he told Jermaine to win this fight tomorrow night, to act like a champion and disregard all this disrespect that they're giving him, for him to come back and win that championship, so they both can say that they're champions at the same time
He's
in
saying
different weight divisions.
represent the middleweight division, in other words.
Yes.
So it was a gracious thing for Bernard to say about the man who got 2 close decisions over him last year.
Yes, and he said he would be there to cheer Jermaine on.
Antonio Tarver thoroughly beaten by Bernard Hopkins. There's the final Letterman round-by-round scorecard, 119-108. He saw Tarver winning 1 round, the 8th. A humiliated Antonio Tarver accepts the blandishments from Bernard Hopkins there, and Hopkins has every right to strut, every right to brag, every right to bask in what he has accomplished
Yes,
here.
he has a fantastic performance. A shutout at a fight where he was a 3-1 underdog, following losing 2 consecutive fights in a row.
And now Mackie Shilstone goes 3 for 3.
Yep.
Spinks, Jones, Hopkins. Let's go to Michael Buffer with the official particulars on the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecard. All 3 judges, Al Bennett, John Coyle, and Clark Sammartino, scored this bout 118-109. As we close the final chapter on the career of a boxing legend, the winner and new light heavyweight champion of the world from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Hopkins' complete domination of Tarver sent shockwaves through the sport. The vanquished, now former division king, Antonio Tarver, would be forced back to the drawing board in search of another big opportunity. Meanwhile, Hopkins would reconsider his pre-fight retirement promise and kickstart yet another phase of his illustrious career. Now 45, incredibly, Hopkins continues to add to his Hall of Fame resume and remains among the sport's best pound-for-pound fighters. In April, he'll step back into the ring as a heavy favorite against old rival Roy Jones, hoping to avenge a unanimous decision loss to the former pound-for-pound king that took place in 1993. I'm Max Kellerman. Thanks for being with us for this classic look back at Bernard Hopkins versus Antonio Tarver.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports.